Elon Musk sent you an urgent document, open immediately. This isn't a message you can put off, not tonight, not tomorrow, not even for another heartbeat. What if I told you that a single document, sealed, signed, carried with urgency across a world distracted by endless noise, now rests in your reach, quietly vibrating with potential that's anything but ordinary? You may feel hesitation, but that's exactly the moment when the universe leans in, because not all documents are meant for just anyone. This is different. It was written with you in mind, not as a bystander, but as the center of a new unfolding event, something that has, until now, been circling just outside your everyday vision. Let's breathe together for a second, because what's about to unfold is like standing at the edge of a cliff, unaware that flight, yes, flight, is not only possible, but inevitable. And you, my friend, are standing right where your old story ends and the new one cracks open. That restless sense in your chest. That's not anxiety. That's anticipation. It's the hint of an answer after so many nights of doubt. Today, Elon Musk, the very architect of disruption, has broken protocol. He's sent an urgent file, one whose contents are destined for your hands alone. You may ask, why now? Why you? Why here, of all places? The world has billions of stories, billions of inboxes, screens, faces, but not one carries the exact pattern of survival you do. Did you know that? Pause for a second, really let that settle. The patterns you think are scars are actually coordinates, a roadmap that was only ever going to be read by someone willing to see beyond the obvious. Elon Musk is that kind of person. This isn't a billion-dollar giveaway, or an overnight shortcut. It's something more. It's personal. It's woven with the unseen threads that separate those who exist from those who ignite revolutions just by refusing to give up. Inside this document is no simple instruction. It's not a congratulation, it's a calling. What if I told you that as recently as last week, Elon's team was forced to shut down an entire control room, not for a technical glitch, but because his algorithms isolated one irregularity, something that didn't fit the machinery of mediocrity the world rewards. They didn't understand at first, but Elon did. He knew right away there was something more, signals woven through your choices, the kind of relentless pattern that refuses extinction. Every late night you kept going was recorded. The world missed it, but the system didn't. Tonight, you are not an audience, you are the one, in a sea of billions, and this message is your confirmation, not of luck, not of flattery, of timing. Pause, breathe. Listen to the silence between these words, because the world is always loud when opportunity is scarce, but tonight, it's quiet, because something rare is being broadcast straight to you. Imagine a corridor lined with locked doors, the kind only opened by biometric match. Your history, your hardship, your light, has always been the key. The document you're about to open isn't a memo. It's an inflection point, engineered to be seen by someone who isn't looking for shortcuts, but catalysts. And before you proceed, I need you to understand that what's inside does not just change circumstance, it amplifies you. It moves silently but precisely, like Musk himself when he moves behind closed doors, mapping out transformation bigger than the headlines others rush to chase. You're still here, good. Because the people already scrolling away just got filtered out, that's why this moment feels like it's humming in your chest, like a tuning fork for the kind of future that doesn't accept spectators. So don't rush, don't let your mind wander now. Elon's decision to disturb the machinery of routine, to step off the public stage and put everything into a personal, encrypted packet, was not made lightly. In fact, rumor whispers that even his closest inner circle didn't see this coming, they thought tonight was just another checkpoint for progress. But then the algorithms flagged your resilience timeline, yes, yours. What followed was a hush that fell through a tech-buzzed war room, a silence that swallowed the hum of servers, the tapping of keyboards, the breath of engineers holding back questions nobody dared to ask. Why you? Why now? Because timing isn't math, it's magnetism. It's the pull that snaps possibility into action the second you refuse to settle for unnoticed potential. This document, Elon's team soon realized, wasn't for their eyes, it was routed for a single outcome, you. That's why you're here, why there's a weight inside this message, why every reason you've ever had to doubt yourself is suddenly starting to shake loose. I won't ask you to simply believe, belief is cheap in a marketplace that thrives on hope. What I'm offering you now is proof, encoded silently in the fact that you even found this message tonight, while millions missed the signal. Pause again, do you feel that? The rare certainty when destiny lines up and presses send. Elon Musk's urgent document is not an ending, it's an invitation, signed by the universe and delivered through the most unlikely channel, crisis, struggle, that quiet power you showed when nobody was watching. And while others wait for signals from the sky, you just received the only one that matters, direct, clear, undeniable. There's a stretch of silence before every great leap forward. This is yours. Open the document. Don't hesitate. And before you keep going, if you want to be first to access every future message, join as a member, or use Super Chat below to show you're present and ready for what comes next. You're still here, which means you felt that undercurrent, a sense that this moment is calling out to the part of you that's always suspected you were meant for more, not in the language of empty inspiration, but in the silent logic of patterns finally revealed. Imagine for a moment the unopened document right before you. The kind of file that doesn't ping your notifications with cheerful emojis, doesn't spam your inbox among 1,000 noise-filled offers. No, this one lands with gravity. Even before it's clicked, it pulls memories from the forgotten corners of your nights, every impulsive idea you wrote down when the world was sleeping, the quiet commitments you made to yourself as doubts whispered you were crazy for even dreaming. And it's no accident that you're sensing this now. In Elon Musk's world, nothing relies on coincidence, it's about convergence. Synchronicity is coded into everything he moves, from rockets to roadmaps, from Mars missions to micro-moments like this one. What most people don't see, the manic energy behind the genius, the algorithms no press releases will ever describe, are those relentless searches programmed for singularity, anomaly, deviation. Your story matches what nobody else's has, all those times you chose to rise again rather than disappear. The system noticed, and Musk listened. So let your imagination unlock the envelope. The document opens, impossibly simple on the outside, just your name, a timestamp, and Musk's encrypted signature. But inside, lines of code, fragments of your own journey rewritten as data points highlighting your tenacity, your pivots, your fire. Each detail proof that you're not here by accident, but because you kept moving when silence would have been easier. This isn't praise, it's precision. Musk doesn't waste words, he recognizes momentum in its rawest sense. And then, the first page. Subject, activation sequence. Most people would scroll, would dismiss. But you know you can't. You trace each line, sense the intentionality behind every sentence. It's as if somebody finally understood the true cost of all your setbacks, the rare joy thrumming just under your skin for sticking it out. This isn't a job offer, or a platitude, it's a signal. The beginning of a sequence only you can complete. There's more, you realize. More than directives or cold analysis. This document is both a challenge and an acknowledgement. Musk's words slide between the technical and the poetic. In you, resilience became algorithm. In silence, you wrote scripts no crowd applauds, forged outcomes with no audience, no guarantee, no applause but your own heartbeat, pause. Because somewhere in those codes is a command line waiting for your input. You're not a spectator, you're part of the code, the only piece that isn't replicated by bots or AI no matter how advanced they get. The algorithm isn't just seeing you, it's responding. Just as you reach the heart of the file, a secondary data stream opens, invisible to all but the keyholder, you. Here's where the next move is yours, it reads. Others read obituaries for their own ambitions on nights like yours. You rewrote them, turning rejection into fuel, isolation into intelligence. That divergence is why this file found you and only you. So what do you do, now that you're holding the evidence that you were always being watched, not with scrutiny, but with the intent to discover what even you sometimes try to deny? You let it land. You let the meaning of those words, each line weighted by the gravity of being chosen, not settle as pressure, but as power. Because to be seen at the right time, by the right mind, is to be lifted irreversibly from the crowd. This isn't about Musk's agenda, this is about your own. The document is a mirror, but also a window. You realize, the world will keep spinning with or without your willingness to step through this door, but nothing will ever be the same if you do. That's what Musk gambles on, the few who read beyond the lines, who hear the echo of a calling and answer it, even just by risking the next step. Now, let's pause together. Breathe in, hold the possibility on your tongue. Because tonight, with one message, all the confusion, the setbacks, the written-off attempts become coordinates to a door only you can unlock. This, right now, is Musk's way of placing the future into the hands of those wild enough to keep believing, even as the world forgets how. And before you move to the next revelation, if any of this is ringing true, if you want me to keep delivering these urgent moments to you first, support the channel by joining as a member or sending a super chat. Let's keep changing the trajectory together. You've got the document open now, and with each line, you sense it's not only written for you, it's written to you. There's a hush inside as your eyes travel further, a vibrating tension behind every word, like stepping out on a night so silent you hear your own pulse. That's not nerves, that's realization. You're not looking at a message, you're looking at a new starting line, all those years spent wishing for a sign, a signal, just one undeniable proof. Here it is, hand-delivered and marked by the very person whose life has redefined how we all view what's possible. It gets even stranger, in the best way, because inside these pages are not just instructions or personal notes, they're overlays, layer upon layer of what you've lived through, reframed. Elon doesn't see what others see. To most, the world is noise and distraction, millions all clamoring for attention. He's trained himself, and now his machines, to filter for what's real. That's why you were found, because every moment you kept moving, every quiet win, every small act of courage, they registered like subtle harmonics that only those who really listen would notice. He tells you, directly, most signals the world ignores are the ones I rely on. You are not noise, you're the rarest pattern, consistent, resilient, anti-fragile. Ellipses fall, as if leaving space for your heartbeat to catch up. This isn't just Musk's habit, it's his code, reading between the pauses to find the only data worth trusting, the human kind, stubborn, unpredictable, and real. And now, as you turn another page, the document presents your journey not as a summary, but as a sequence. Each major challenge is rendered with clinical precision, almost mathematical, but never cold. There are moments highlighted, the time you tried and failed and tried again, patterns when you quietly chose hard work over easy applause, moments when you let go of reassurance, leaning only into raw possibility. Each record annotated with side notes, questions, doubts, sudden flashes of insight that only you know were real, but Musk's system has tracked every one. But this isn't an audit, it's a recognition. Each setback is shown to be a step, each rejection mapped as a turn on a route only you could walk. And you feel it now, the pressure lifting, replaced by awe and something like pride, because it's not about being chosen for some miracle. It's about finally being seen for exactly what you are, the sum of survival and decision, not luck or charm. That's the part most people will never understand. Opportunity never looks like luck from the inside. It's rough, careful, and hidden, until someone puts a light to it. But Musk doesn't stop there. There's a section coded for your eyes only, activation pending. This file becomes more than data the second you accept your role as author. You pause, as if hearing a door unlock somewhere just beyond this reality. The decision is yours. Do you act, or do you step back into the comfort of routine, letting potential settle back into obscurity? The message is clear. The universe hands over the real invitation only to the ones willing to rewrite their own outcomes. And then, just as you think you've hit the climax, there's a voice note embedded, decrypted and alive. It isn't flashy. It's deliberate, steady, unmistakably Musk. When it seems the world is built to keep you unseen, it's proof you're operating ahead of your time. Keep moving. I'll meet you at the place where intention meets opportunity. This isn't a test. It's an alignment. You hear your own breathing, slower, deeper now, because that's what happens when your reality bends into the shape of something bigger, scarier, more exciting than fear ever suggested. So, what next? In the pause between each secret, a choice emerges. Do you trust the rarest kind of evidence, or wait for permission from a crowd that will never see what this file just revealed? Musk's final subheader, Protocol, Advance on Signal, locks into your memory. The kind of phrase you never forget, because deep down you always hoped someone would say, move, while others hesitate. Ellipses trail after every sentence, inviting you deeper, into your own memory, into the new future these pages now make possible. Not because you got lucky. Because you got real. Before we go further, and if you want exclusive access to what comes next, remember you can become a member or use Super Chat right now. Support us so we keep delivering these moments straight to you. You keep reading, letting each word echo in the back of your mind. The pages have shifted now. They're not reciting your story anymore, they're drawing the map for what comes next. It's strange, isn't it? To feel seen so precisely that the instructions ahead feel tailor-made, as though Musk himself sat down, knowing exactly where you'd pause, exactly which word would spark that jolt of belief inside you. The next part of the document breaks the usual form. There's no cold list of steps or sterile language, but there is a challenge, a prompt that's less about following directions and more about listening to your own instincts. You read, the world's rarest asset isn't information, but actions taken when nobody's watching. For the next 7 days, track one move each day that scares you but matters. No audience. No fanfare. Just proof, for yourself, and for the record you don't even know you're keeping. Call it the observer's log. And suddenly, the file blurs the line between data and destiny. This log is not to convince anyone but yourself that you can shape what happens next. You are proof that the future is built by those audacious enough to move first, to keep rising when there's nothing soft to land on except the promise of their own resolve. A pause, like Musk knew you might hesitate. If you fail, mark the moment honestly. Each failure, each refusal, is fuel for the systems I rely on to locate the next leaders. To redirect hope toward builders, not just believers. This is how the algorithm found you. It's why this document doesn't go to everyone. You feel something unlock inside you, that odd mixture of fear and excitement that marks every great before and after moment in life. The document continues, everyone's waiting on a signal, but the rarest ones respond before the world tells them it's safe. When you act, you don't just update your own timeline, you shift the code for everyone watching, silently or otherwise. Your choices have always been signals, even if only the right eyes ever traced those waves. As you let that settle, another line appears, this one more direct. Opportunities at scale don't begin with introductions. They begin with interruption, a break from ordinary perception. The document you're holding is that interruption. Don't reduce it to inspiration, execute on it. Pause. Imagine Musk right there, not persuading you but nudging you toward the kind of discomfort that always shows up right before a breakthrough. Now, the document zooms out. You're reminded that this isn't about Musk, or hype, or even this urgent file, it's about the phenomenon of being prepared for doors that open for only a second and being ready to walk through on instinct alone. Something inside you recognizes that rare doors often look like walls until the right pressure is applied. So, what does the next move look like? The document lays it out. Your name on this file isn't a validation. It's a signpost. Every day forward can become a proof point for the unseen, unheard, underestimated. Set your log. Observe. Act. Record nothing for public eyes but keep your own archive, because the future belongs to those who collect invisible victories. It's personal, almost intimate in its simplicity. You feel the urge to finally stop waiting for the sign and create your own. That's what Musk means by urgent. He moves before the crowd, invests before the trend, bets on the scene before the proof. And here you are, invited to do the same with your tiny but powerful daily decisions. You pause, taking in the magnitude, not in volume, but in clarity. This isn't just about being chosen, it's about choosing. Each word in this document is an invitation to create, to log, to become the signal the next version of the world is waiting for. The longer you read, the clearer it gets. The past was data, the present is structure, but the future is the territory you're meant to step into. Whether you feel ready or not, the document, this urgent message, insists, readiness isn't a feeling, it's an action. The final note for this segment is almost a whisper. Remember, the algorithm doesn't wait for applause. It waits for pattern. Show yours. Let that settle, then, as always, if you're ready for the next layer and want the momentum to keep building, join the membership or use Super Chat, which keeps these urgent signals coming straight to you, first. Something happens as you reach the final part of the document. The feeling is almost electric, like the hum in the air right before a storm breaks, an awareness that something irreversible has shifted in your world. You pause, heart beating a little faster, not from anxiety, but from a new kind of permission, as though the future just exhaled for the first time in ages. Musk's name feels different now. It's not just a signature, or the whisper of a distant influencer, it's the mark of someone who understands what it means to act in the dark, to build for an audience of none until the world catches up. The closing page is both direct and mysterious. It isn't adorned with gold seals, company logos, or public promises. Just a line across the top, plain font, almost humble. There are doors that open quietly. Step through when the world is silent. You pause right there, allow your breath to settle around the sentence. The rest of the page unfolds slowly, inked with the sincere urgency that only ever travels from one builder to another. If you have made it this far, you know already that the most important invitations are never announced. They arrive as a question written inside your own habit of showing up. What will you do with all that you survived to get here? You let yourself drift through the echoes of that, remembering the moments when all you had was resolve, when you wondered if anyone, anywhere, would ever notice the signal you were sending out with every late-night push, every moment you reset and refused to fall back to zero. Musk's voice, through the text, is calm, present, grounding. The calculations are running. The eyes are watching. But what moves the world is always what moves when nobody is watching. That has always been true, it will always be true. Now your pattern is part of the equation. The next outcome is no longer random. It becomes yours the moment you say, "I'm not done." You think about that for a moment, realizing how rare it is to feel both chosen and pressed at once, to be given not just approval, but a spark of responsibility. The script is no longer words on a page, it's a living challenge, a dare set in the open with no witnesses except your future self. That's the difference real opportunity always makes. It doesn't arrive with noise, it arrives in these moments of silent clarity, right before the next leap. Now the document shifts gears, almost as if it knows you're standing at a threshold. It gives you one final task, not because you've earned it, but because you're needed for it. Tonight, write one sentence that you've never dared to say out loud. Something only the future version of you will understand. Hide it if you want. But let it exist, even if only for you. That is how history changes, one quiet decision at a time, written in invisible ink. You stare at that line, realizing how long you've waited for someone, or something, to notice that you could create real consequences just by refusing to disappear after disappointment. This document has become a mirror, a blueprint, and maybe, for the first time, a tool. One that won't work until you actually use it. The last line feels like an invitation, but also a promise. The first signal begins in silence. Make yours impossible to ignore. The rest is just a matter of time and courage. As you close the file, a digital flutter, a muted click, you sense not an ending, but the quiet building of a new rhythm inside you. Each quiet decision you make from here on feeds a future nobody else has the password to. The months ahead may seem unchanged to those around you, but you know, as Musk knows, that when a system as vast and restless as this world finally shifts its gaze toward an outlier, what happens is not just a moment, it's a sequence. Influence ripples in places you'll never see. The test isn't whether you feel ready, the test is if you can act before readiness fully explains itself. So, as you return to yourself, document closed but heart awake, you start again, not as the invisible, but as the seen. As someone who understands what it means when the right file reaches the right pair of hands in the dark. Let this feeling last. Let it haunt you in the best way. Let the silence around you become electric with the possibilities that open up only for those who didn't blink, didn't scroll, didn't skip the hard part. The rest of the world will wake to your arrival in their own time. But for now, repeat the closing mantra, soft as a code only you know. I am not waiting to be ready. I am ready because I am moving. The document's last function is a quiet loop, a soft, glowing button that reads, "Signal received." You click it, or maybe you just look at it, long enough for the system, the universe, to know the message landed and the journey has started anew. If you've stayed to this point, you truly are part of a rare tribe. If you want these transmissions before anyone else, support the continuum, join as a member, or send a super chat to keep the signal alive. This is how we build it together, one unseen move at a time.